Hi, Ravi. Hey, can you turn on your mute option so that I can? I'm getting some disturbance. Okay, thank you. Bob is not logged in. Hi, Ravi. So, yeah. Hi, Bob. Bob, you have to log into Web Access Manager. So I want to give an introduction to the SAP. SAP started since 1970 somewhere. And, you know, they developed a business application software. SAP is called it as business application software. In 1970s, SAP R1 technology. So what do you mean by R1? R1 means single system with limited applications. So all the database system and the application system and the user client system, everything will be installed on a single system. In 1970s, we have mainframe computers. We don't have the desktop and servers. We have mainframe computers. And in mainframe computer, this R3 system R1. Okay. Bob has to log in. But just let me know if you can, if you are logged into Web Access Manager. So we will continue with the with three of you, Elizabeth, Ravi, and Bob. They both means three are in the call. We'll be continuing with three of you this session. If you have any questions or you just stop me so that we can we will discuss about that. So in SAP R3 technology is a single system with limited applications, very few applications. I can say two or three integrated applications. They just want to test those applications. They send the SAP software for universities and for other companies. They just want to implement the business application software, complete business application software, and they started working on SAP R1 technology, the real-time one-tier technology, means single system with limited application, database system. There won't be any RDBMS software at that time. Means, at the time they used to store the information in that same system as the database, but it is not actually the database. It is just like a single system with the application and storing the data in that system. In 1980s, SAP R2 technology. This is a distributed environment. R2 technology means a console and client concept, not client, terminal concepts. I mean, just like a Unix environment. Unix has a multi-user environment. The client side, you won't have the operating system deployed. You will be accessing the server from a terminal. Similar to that, R2 technology is also it's a kind of console and terminal environment initially, and later on it is developed in a client server environment. So R2 technology from here, SAP supports multiple languages, and the software supports multiple languages, multiple time zones, more number of application modules compared to R1 technology. But in R2 technology, it is not completely a three-tier architecture. It means the database system and the application system are still in the single system, and there is no technology at that time to set up the database and application system separately on different servers. In 1990s, SAP R3 technology exists. So SAP R3 is it's completely three-tier technology. Three-tier technology with database system, application system, and user client system. User client. The three-tier technology means applications. SAP application will have the interfaces to connect to the database, and a single database can have multiple SAP application servers, and more than one SAP application server can accommodate more number of users, and it is used for fault tolerance or load balancing. So in SAP R3, the major advantage of SAP R3 is SAP GUI. All the applications can be opened in GUI. And the client interface is also from GUI. It's a completely client-server architecture. It gives more application modules than R2. It's dependent to the OS and DB. load balancing feature, log on groups concept. Major advantages: 3-tier, multi-tier technology. It supports more than 3-tier means multiple databases and multiple application systems. SAP router came into exist. Because before that, in R2, we used to configure network router, and there won't be any security implemented in the SAP system. And from SAP R3, SAP itself, has a gateway feature, and we can configure security for external systems to access the SAP system. And these are some of the features, and there are many. All the new features come into the SAP R3 onwards. In 2000, no, next year, we have a release SP1, SP2, SAP release 2, SAP release SSP2, and the versions will go in this way: SAP release 1, release 2, and SSP2. These are the releases here. Just like XI, and now it is called as CI, Enterprise Portal, Knowledge Management, BI, it supports ABAP and Java engines, the main database. You can call it as not a feature. BI and many. Modules are dependent either on ABAP feature or on Java feature. I just want to give you an awareness. These modules are dependent on either ABAP feature or Java feature. This ABAP EP is completely dependent on the Java. Or BI, it has both the features, BI on ABAP, and if you need a BI web functionality, then you must have BI Java. You have to install another component called BI Java. So to provide a web functionality for BI is to access all the complete application module from web. You can use the Java features on this. So you see, SAP NetFever, it is integrated in the ECC 6.0, and you will get a selection options during the installation selection criteria, which component you want to install and which lot you want to install. You can select those components during the ECC 6.0 installation. No, NetWeaver, it's a server, and it is not meant for business purpose. So it's finance module, HR module, or payroll. This information is not it's part of NetWeaver. NetWeaver provides the web platform for the existing SAP system. It provides the web functionalities. In SAP R3 also we have a web functionality called ITS, Internet Transaction Server. But ITS provider is not deploying the dynamic content over web. It is static and you can't get the complete information on the web using ITS. And moreover, this is dependent on is depend on IIS services initially, and later on it integrated with the Unix web services. Depend on IIS and other web services on host server. So to remove these dependencies and to provide much more features for each application module, and they develop SAP NetViewer. So not only to get the data on the web interface, to provide much more other options, just like conversion of legacy application data to SAP data, non-SAP data to SAP data, and you know uh, providing some employee self services, management self services. The EP functionality is in use, and this is only for uh, self services, and it is not for business purposes. And the knowledge management is also, it's just like a portal where you can share your discussions and other details. And EXA is enterprise exchange infrastructure, which is that component is used to convert the non-SAP data to SAP data. It supports all the interfaces. Suppose if you have PeopleSoft database, PeopleSoft application and the database, it converts the PeopleSoft data to the SAP data. Any legacy application data to SAP data. It has all the inbound and outbound interfaces. It supports almost all the interfaces to come in converting the data from non-SAP to SAP. And not only these modules, there are many other modules. More than 20 modules are there in a NetViewer component. So here, very few modules are being we can see in the real environment, and some of the modules are still in progress to release the complete full version. This is in progress. You can say very few modules are being used in the organization. Yes, not all modules, but few modules. See, yes. So NetViewer, the major advantage of NetViewer is it provides a web platform. And initially, that is a major aim of to develop the NetViewer, and later on, they just develop a few other application modules in the NetViewer or in the NetViewer platform, which which is used for converting the non-SAP data to SAP data, and for employee self-services and the knowledge management system and BI functionalities. Like this, they have created other modules which are integrated in the NetViewer. It depends on your requirement. Mm. Net, uh, No, no. Yes, sir. No, SAP R3 will be installed and SAP NetWeaver will be installed. Without SAP R3 functionality, you can't work on SAP NetWeaver. So, yes, web enabling and other functionalities. It provides other functionalities. And it is integrated with Java. It is integrated completely with Java because to provide dynamic content over the web. Yes. 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 Exactly. Uh, yes. And even we do the administration. Yeah, we can use the queue kind. And the NetWeaver, if you deploy NetWeaver, it will give you few options to install the NetWeaver component. So depending upon your requirement, we can install. We will take the license for those components and we'll install it. So there are SAP clients, SAP GUI for Windows, SAP GUI for Java, SAP GUI over HTML. Okay. The third option is applicable for NetWeaver. Mm-hmm. No, it's a part of NetWeaver. It's a part of NetWeaver. That you have to select. You have to turn on the option during the installation. NetWeaver installation. No, no, SAP R3 installation is different. Yeah, from ECC 6.0, these two SAP R3 and NetWeaver components are integrated. Okay, let me show you the difference. It's ECC 6. Okay. See here, they have given BI7. BI7 is nothing but your NetWeaver. There is no BI7 or only BI component like that. BI7 means in NetWeaver, they have selected BI. It is a NetWeaver again. I can't say that it's a BI 7.0 server. It's a NetWeaver server. And BI component is installed. Apart from BI, there are other default components are also installed. Yes. Um, no. From BIW 3.5 onwards, the next version is BI7. So let me give you the difference here. SAP has SAP is released, apart from versions, they have released the SAP software in different times. You see, SAP R3, let's discuss R3 versions. So it started from 3.0, 3.0 and 3.5 and many other, 4.0 later on, 4.5, 4.6. I started working from 4.6 onwards. 4.6, I have version A, version B, version C, and version D in 4.6. And after that 4.7 version, standard version, and enterprise version. And after this ECC 5.0, enterprise core components, from ECC 5.0, NetWeaver components are integrated. And from ECC 6.0, it means you can install NetWeaver components separately in the ECC 6.0 and you can integrate. From here, You have to deploy the add-on components for in 4.7 add-on components, and then you have to integrate. It's a process. It's a long time-taking process in 4.7, and we can't assure that it will get integrated with the next flavor component. But in ECC 5.0, by default, some support components have been installed in the SAP R3, where it can support NetWeaver components. ECC 6.0, both R3 and NetWeaver together part of the ECC 6.0. So SAP releases, I have 620 release, 640 release, 700, and the 710, 720 exists, and just I'll write 700 till 4.7 version. The release before 620, I mean all these versions will come. 4.7 enterprise. So till 4.7 enterprise, no 620, and 4.6 could be 600. No, till SAP R3 4.0, 4.7, the version is 620, and after this release, I mean release version is 620. It is a kernel release. After 620, if you come to 640, means the entire SAP structure has been changed. Please for ECC 5.0, I can show you the difference. You can see the difference in the screen from 620 to 640. Similarly, this is for ECC 6.0. So now, because of release 7, we call it as VI7, EP7, EP version. XI, now it is called as PI7. All are 7 versions because the SAP release is 7. The kernel release is 7. The functionalities will change depending upon the kernel. So the software release is 6.0, and internally the kernel release is 7. Even in Unix system, if you take the kernel version is different from the operating system version. Similar to that, SAP kernel 620, SAP kernel 640, 700. So I just want to show you that. I'm logging into our SAP system. So this is a command where you can see kernel release like 640 now. It's 640. And okay, these are patch numbers, so it depends. The database, 610, 620, 630, 640. And it's a supported environment, these are. So 600 4.6 onwards, 600, we are working on 600 release, 4.6, 4.7. Till 4.7, it's 620. And after 4.7, 640 came into exist. This is 620, 640. And if I log in, I guess I can show you 620 also. It is BIW 3.5, comparable to 4.7. Okay, here I guess this should be 620. Okay, you can see 620 release. So kernel release, SAP kernel releases are different. 620, 640, and BI 7 also, let us see BI 7. These are all different servers, SAP servers. Okay. The support guys will go with ghost images. SAP all servers will be installed with ghost images. Here you can see because of ECC 6.0, J2E engine is there, ABAP engine is there. Whereas in 5.0 you don't see these J2E and ABAP. You can see only ABAP. You can't see J2E. So J2E has a separate database and separate instance. ABAP it has separate instance. Okay. I want to execute that command, kernel command. D column, response ID SAP, CD. So I can execute from here. So you can see this is a 700 release. So this is because of 8 the ECC 6.0. You can see the differences in kernel release 700. So your interfaces will be different in 700 and in 640 and in 600. So that's why the version is here BI 7.0. Application version is different 7.0. And the software version is ECC 6.0 only. The complete SAP software version. So you can see minor standard differences. Innovation, standard software and real-time computing. R2, integrated of applications, mainframe based. This is also mainframe based one. And R3, relational database, client server architecture and platform independent. These are R3 differences. Okay. So here R3 applications, middleware. The basis is a middleware. And the bottom in the bottom hardware, software, database, network, everything come into the middle. And the bottom layer, middleware is the basis administration. The top layer is the SAP applications. So basis will define the technical infrastructure of the SAP in the organization. So 3D technology, client server architecture. I'll be explaining you much more about this. Client software, client could be terminals or Windows based client or Java based client, any Unix based client and even internet based client. Dispatcher is a function, this is a function in the SAP application server which accepts the user request. Any input that comes to the SAP application system will be accepted by dispatcher, and this dispatcher will distribute the task to the different work processor. Work processor is a SAP processor. It's a virtual processor. Internally, it acts as a processor, and we have different work processors in the SAP system. So, dispatcher will distribute the task to the work processor of the SAP application system, and each work processor will have an interface to the RDBMS. A DB client will be installed in the SAP application server. Using that client, the work processor will communicate to the database server. So database server and the different interfaces, application server and different interfaces. It looks like something, dispatcher is the main function in the SAP application system which accepts the inbound signals. So SAP GUI, terminal, any kind of terminal that comes to the SAP will be accepted by dispatcher. Dispatcher will maintain the queue, DQ, to hold all the user requests. So dispatcher, has a work processor. So work processor 1, 2, 3, every work processor will have the buffer. So communication means it has a queue. It takes information from the queue, and apart from queue, it has other interfaces to connect to other SAP systems. Application server and the database instance. See, how do we call that? How can we say that SAP RC system is independent to the database? Because every RDBMS will have a native SQL statements predefined in the RDBMS structure. So DB2 have a separate SQL commands, and it could be most probably same, but there will be some differences in the SQL commands from DB2 to Oracle and Oracle to SQL. SAP access all these three databases, and it creates a database in those RDBMS and it works on that. So how can this possible? Is SAP has an open SQL architecture, whereas the database will have a native SQL architecture. The database interface will convert the native database request to the open request and open request to the native request. So in that way, it can communicate to any RDBMS software that is installed for SAP system. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. See, ABAP programming language is an open SQL. ABAP, yes. And the program in ABAP is quite completely different from the program in SQL. Yes. Yes. It converts the native SQL statements to open and open to native. Uh, they will not be working with native SQL statements. So any ABAP, yeah. See, it is yes because yeah it is no. Miss, this is actually the process. Yeah, means there is no direct connection like this. It is direct. Red mark it indicates it includes the DB interface. So that we can execute. From ABAP interpreter, I can directly send a request to database to get the information. And I can't say that every time it converts the open to a SQL native and native to open. It sometimes the SQL commands will be same. Am I right? If it is not right, it is must and should, it has to convert. Mm-hmm. 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 Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. Uh, yes, but in ABAP has a it has a structure and uh, I can tell you all the SQL commands may not work in the ABAP. It has its own definitions. ABAP has its own definitions, and SQL has its own definitions. So yes, yes, okay. Red arrows. Uh, hmm. As per I guess it could be the commands which are same in open and native SQL statements. No, uh, native SQL statements we can write, but most of the native SQL statements may not work directly. So if required, it can use the interfaces. Conversion I mean, that is, I can tell you, the conversion is only when you find differences in both these statements. And if there is no difference in both the statements, then it won't convert. I guess so. I guess so, it could be. Okay. So, these are different work process. I'll just tell you in detail about these all work process tomorrow with an example. I just want to aware you. These are the SAP work process. Dialog, background, and which one? This one? Okay. Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah, I know, I guess, it should be, no, if there is a command, if there is native SQL statement, if the SQL statement is same in ABAP and SQL, then it won't convert, it won't go to the DB interface to convert the statement because it is same in the database, SQL and the ABAP. That is why it is directly marking to the arrow is marked to the database to get the data. Yeah. And R3 application instances, this is services. These are the work process. These are different work process. Altogether, we have 7 work process. Out of 7, 2 work process uh, are called as central services, central work process, and the other 5 work process are called as application work process. Central services and application services. So message and gateway are central services, and these are all application services. Okay, what does it mean? I'll take you tomorrow these details. Okay, more about that. So SAP process the user request with SAP work process. SAP work process or virtual process in SAP application system. These are not real process. So SAP, the other one, not no. One I can say, two I can say, three. Number of work processors are depend upon the upon the system RAM memory. Memory. See, if I have 10 work process after my installation, set installation, I can see 10 work process, and in another system I can see 15 work process. So the number of work processors depend upon the system RAM memory. If you have more RAM, then you get more number of work processors by default, and this can be customized. You can increase the work process, you can decrease the work process. No, the total number of word process. I have 7 types of word process. In this 7 types, 2 types are, 2 word processors are central services. And I can't increase or I can't decrease those 2 services because those are central and unique. And other 5 word processors are application based. So I can increase the word process, I can decrease the word process, and I can see the default number of word process depending upon the system memory. Mhm. Mhm. Memory in terms of. Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Mhm. Yeah, understood. Understood. I have to check this issue, this value, I mean, how much memory exactly each word processor is taking up. Okay, I'll just, I'll check that issue, that option, how much exactly it is taking. Even I'm not sure whether it is equally divided depending upon the RAM or it has a constant value that it will take. Because if it is taking a constant value, then I don't have option to increase the word processor. See, I have an option where I can increase the word process. If it is by default is 5, I can increase to 10. So dynamically it is allotting memory to each word processor or it is a static that I have to check again. I understand your problem. I understand your question. But I'm not exactly sure on either it is a static memory or allotment or dynamic allotment. I mean, one more thing is I can go even, see, by default is 5 word processors are for 5 GB RAM. And, I don't find, if I can take even 25 word processors, I can customize to 25 word processors. And it can accept that. So in that case, is how it will be dividing the memory. I mean, even it is a question to me also. I just want to go to again the static allotment and dynamic is dynamic how it will allot. Just remind me tomorrow again. I will discuss about this. That's a good question. Yeah. Um, yes. Now I'll take work process and how what are the components of work process, what are the types of work process, how it will communicate, what are the interfaces, buffers, dispatcher. I'll take these things tomorrow. The SAP architecture point of view. I just keep going on and I keep asking me questions. Yes, it's a very good idea that how much memory it will allot there for every work process. But I'm not, I didn't come into this before. Okay. Fine. Any questions today? Mm-hmm. Yes, Bash. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. 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 Uh-huh. Yes. Yes. Yes, that's your. See, web application service administration is EP administration, BI administration, XI administration, like that. These are all depend based on web only, web BAS, web application services. So, yeah. No, I'll do one thing. I'll take you BI administration, and okay, even EP also. EP instead of EP, I'll go for BI administration. Okay, WAS, web application administration is BI administration in the next viewer, or EP administration in the next viewer. WAS administration means it includes many components. So in web application, web in the WAS administration, so I know EP part, and I know BI, I know XI, it comes like that. In general, how to set the ABAP and Java parameters, and how can the architecture for ABAP and architecture for Java is completely different. The, yeah, exactly, completely different. Yes, completely different. I mean, completely different means the architecture point is different. The architecture means the other things will be different. So we are learning here R3 administration, basis administration, and the next few Java, and these are different. And we can spend some time on next few administration. For example, 3 to 4 sessions. I can tell you, each session 2 hours we can spend on that. No, I don't know about that material. Anyway, my material is different, and I don't have that kind of any material structure. I just go through from the beginning. Uh, yeah, I'll be discussing all the concepts and basis, and after basis, I'll explain next few platform, and next few Java and ABAP differences, and Java architecture, ABAP architecture. Yes, yes, yes. No, no, we don't have any new material. No, the material, uh, that material is available as of now. ECC 6 material is not in the market. The only place you can look at the ECC 6 material is your SAP marketplace. Yes, yes, we will be working on ECC 5 and ECC 6. And we don't have 4.7 servers here. All servers are ECC 5 only. ECC 6, why these guys are not going to ECC 6 means because it consumes more space than ECC 5. See, if I want to deploy ECC 6, it will take 300 GB hard drive. It occupies 300 GB hard drive. And whereas 5.0 is 150 GB hard drive. So training the plan on ECC 5.0. Yes, yes. Screens, yes. But there won't be major, there won't be much differences. And you will find the differences, but not complete differences. Minor differences, some options, some menu options, and some screens customization. But overall concept is remain same. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Okay, then we'll see you tomorrow at the same time. And next week I can reschedule our timings. Okay, as I told you. We will discuss. I mean, later on. 1 hour earlier or 1 hour after. It depends upon your convenience. If you want, because if you want me to take early, half an hour early or 1 hour early, then I don't mind of taking that. And if you want me to continue at the same time, then I don't mind. I don't have any issue. Okay, I'll forward you this document. No, I'll forward you right away. Okay. So recordings are anyway. I'm putting the date. Recordings are date wise. Every week we'll forward you 5 recordings. I mean 5 days, 5 recordings. We'll send a FTP link and we'll ask you to supporting will do that. They will send the recordings. So this is our, no, I started this week I guess. Hey, it's just I can see still, I can't forward you that. Um, uh, Ravi, can you accept the file please? Elizabeth, can you send me your email address? I don't know why your email ID. I don't know why it is not active. Your ID is showing not active. That's why I'm not able to forward you. I have to look at that. Yes, I guess invisible mode, I guess. I guess during login time, that option has to be deactivated. Hey, Ravi, can you forward the same this file to Elizabeth on this email ID? Yes. Okay, guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, you're welcome. Bye.